What's up guys, my name is Sean Hudspeth and I'm a professional racing driver with Ferrari. Today, we're here at Italotto, the official Ferrari dealership in Singapore, to test drive the brand new Ferrari Portofino M. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. We're going to be posting regularly, and this video is brought to you by East Coast Podiatry, a specialized low limb clinic in Singapore, who are helping me with my right ankle treatment. So the brand new Portofino M. M stands for Modificata, which is the name given to Ferraris that have undergone review and performance upgrades, even the ones in the past. So there are subtle differences between this, the Portofino M, and the Portofino of 2018. So in terms of performance, there's 20 more horsepower now compared with the Portofino of 2018. And that's thanks to a new powertrain, new mechanical components within the engine, but also due to specific engine management software calibration. The result is the Portofino M will do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in only 3.45 seconds and do 0 to 200 kilometers an hour in only 9.8 seconds. That is 1 second faster than the Portofino of 2018. Flat out, the car will top 320 kilometers an hour. And this Ferrari V8 Turbo has been named Engine of the Year for the last 4 consecutive years. And you can see why. I mean, there's absolutely zero turbo lag. The response is immediate. There's so much torque. It's such a versatile engine. I mean, when you're cruising, it's super smooth, not too loud. And when you're really pushing it and driving fast, it turns into a completely different animal. I mean, it's just so versatile. On top of that, it's just so much fun to drive. This new 8-speed dual-clutch gearbox was derived from the Ferrari SF90 hypercar, and it's the same one that's in the new Ferrari Roma as well. So the gearbox is lighter and compared with the 7-speed of before, and the ratios in the lower gears are 4% shorter, so that means more performance, more fun to drive, it's smoother and gives a more powerful pickup. However, in the higher gears, the car has longer gear ratios, which actually helps to improve fuel economy and keep emissions down. Another thing that I love about this car is the carbon ceramic brakes. They're so powerful, but yet they're not jerky, they're not bitey. You can modulate very easily, and they don't need to be warmed up to actually start working like the carbon ceramic discs of the past. So even if it's wet, even if the discs are cold, you have the stopping power immediately. And they're so powerful that the Portofino M will go from 100 kilometers an hour to a complete stop in only 32 meters. Damn! So another new addition to the Portofino M, compared with the Portofino of 2018, is 2 extra positions on the Manettino. So instead of 3 positions, we have 5, and we have the addition of race mode and wet mode. Race mode for more sporty. Whoa, the rain is really coming down now. I guess I can test the wet mode out. Yeah. So the wet mode basically increases the traction control, makes it a little bit more safe to drive in wet conditions. So unlike Ferraris in the past, you don't need to worry about driving it when it's slippery or when the rain is heavy. It's very, very easy to drive, very safe. And the addition of race mode makes it a lot more fun to drive, a lot more versatile, because we have the Ferrari Dynamic Enhancer Plus working in race mode. Okay, the roads are wet, but I'm gonna test out the handling and see how the car behaves. So I'm gonna change it into manual mode. I'm gonna put the car into sport mode. And let's see what it can do. Oh, the gear changes have sharpened up. The engine noise has changed. Oh my gosh, there's so much grip. Wow, I was expecting the car to understeer, but it just turns. I mean, the chassis is so great. It really shrinks around you. It feels like a much smaller car than it is. The handling is incredible. There's absolutely no roll, and it just grips. The speed that I can carry into these corners on a wet road, and so much traction as well. Oh, listen to that. I mean, for sure with the turbos you do lose a bit of the sound compared with a naturally aspirated engine, but honestly, it's so fun to drive. And you hear that? When you back off the throttle, there's a burble on the overrun. Yeah, that's really nice, I love that. So the other thing is that the car is just so easy to drive. I mean, It just goes where you steer. It just gives the driver so much confidence. Traction control letting me have a little bit of a slip, but not too much. What a great car. This is a real driver's car. It just feels so sharp. Now, before we go any further, I just want to say a big thank you to my title sponsor, East Coast Podiatry. They are a specialized clinic in Singapore for incredibly fast and effective treatments. I really wanted to have them as my team podiatrist, as they have been keeping me pain-free so that I can perform at my best. When I broke my ankle, they handled my post-op treatment and it was just amazing. This was like the ultimate test. I had to recover from a broken ankle in a matter of weeks, so they were pressed for time, working against the clock. They went all out like a pit crew, and they did different types of high-intensity treatment just to get me back on track as quickly as possible. After my first surgery, I could race, but I still couldn't run. Nearly 5 months later, I had a second surgery to remove the metalwork which they put in the first time. However, I was still in too much pain to be able to run. Then I flew back to Singapore, and after just a few weekly treatments at East Coast Podiatry, I was able to run again for the first time in nearly 6 months. They really made such a huge difference for me. I've personally recommended my own parents and my friends to go and see them. So if you're looking for a clinic which is absolutely world-class at treating foot, ankle, knee, and general leg issues, East Coast Podiatry is one that you can really depend on. Now back to the car. So I think the Portofino was already a very, very good looking car. But with the M, they've just made subtle changes and it looks even better. So for example, the front bumper, it's been completely changed. So a new front grille, new air intakes at the side to make it look a little bit more aggressive. There's also the addition of this little air intake here, which actually helps to reduce drag and also help cooling of the brakes. So this is one of my favorite views of the car, the side angle. I love these 20-inch aluminum wheels. They're actually forged out of a single block of aluminum, and they're unique to the Portofino M. And I love the fact that when the roof is up for a folding hardtop, it really looks like a genuine coupe. It looks very, very sporty. However, with the roof down, it becomes an elegant spider. See what I did there? So there have also been subtle changes to the rear of the car. The rear bumper has been redesigned so it looks a little bit more aggressive, and now the exhaust system is actually more separated from the diffuser, which has allowed Ferrari to remove the rear silencers, so the car sounds even better than before. So this is one of my favorite interiors out of all the modern Ferraris. I think it has enough technology, but it still looks analog and raw. So I love the steering wheel. This one has the special carbon fiber options, so it looks very, very sporty. You even have the shift lights here that come with the carbon fiber options for the steering wheel. I love the carbon fiber paddles that are mounted on the steering column. However, I would personally opt for the longer paddles because they are fixed to the dash. So it means that when you're turning the wheel, it's easier to grab the paddles. I love the dash display as well. And this very classic, massive Ferrari rev counter right in front of you, right in the middle. The new ones are all digital, for example, in the SF90, the Roma, and the 296 GTB, which are great as well, but I do like this sort of old style analog rev counter. It makes it feel a bit more raw. These two screens on either side, you can program them to different displays. So for example, GPS, speed, and so on. And I love how everything's mounted on the steering wheel. So for example, the indicators, the lights, the windscreen wipers, very much in line with Ferrari's eyes on the road, hands on the wheel philosophy. So when you're driving in the perfect position of 915, you can operate all of them easily without having to move your hands from the steering wheel. This is the bumpy road, so it's an option for the Magnarite suspension, which is great because it allows you to drive the car in sport mode, for example, in terms of the engine and the gearbox and the exhaust. However, keep the suspension from comfort mode if the road is a little bit bumpy. Here, finally, we have the Manatino. So we have the addition of race mode and wet mode, as I mentioned, and it just makes the car a lot more versatile. And it has a really nice click feel to it. Very, very nice indeed. I love also the circular air vents. Very, very similar to my racing car. So that's nice, very, very traditional. And also the quality of the stitching, the two-tone leather, it's absolutely gorgeous. So I love this center console, all the buttons here, very, very classic Ferrari, one for reverse, one for auto to change between auto and manual mode, and one for launch control. The 10.2-inch display here is all touchscreen, very, very easy to use, very ergonomic. It doesn't lag when I touch it, when I try to operate it. It just works really, really well. And also the passenger display there is also interactive, it's touchscreen. And when I change modes on the Manettino, for example, it changes the display and setting there. So that's very, very nice as well. It just makes the passenger feel a lot more involved in the overall driving experience. So the car also has more efficient clutch torque control now, which makes it so smooth when you move off. And it just makes it easier to drive in the city and at low speeds in traffic, for example. And speaking of that, the weather's getting nice now, so I think we're gonna put the roof down. The great thing is that you can put the roof down while on the move. You can operate it up to 30 kilometers an hour, and it only takes 14 seconds, which is awesome. And now with the roof down, you can hear the engine even more. You're just exposed to the elements, you have the wind in your hair. It just becomes a much more fun experience. Oh, listen to that gearbox. I love the pop, that sound when you change gear. And the car is just so comfortable. I mean, I'm going over a speed hump now and it's just like nothing. So there are two small seats in the back, so you can bring two children, but the seats also fold down, so it expands the boot capacity if you need it. But even without the seats folded down, the boot capacity is pretty big. It's 292 liters, which is roughly about the same as 3 cabin bags or a golf bag. So it is practical. The car has compact dimensions for everyday use, for parking, for driving in the city. It's actually less than 2 meters wide. And it does have a new ADAS system with 360 view cameras, lane departure warning, traffic signal recognition, automated emergency braking, and so on. So it is very practical for city use. Oh, listen to that. Oh. 620 horsepower and 760 Newton meters of torque, which is probably one of the most impressive things. There are also new options available, such as neck warmers in the seats. However, I don't recommend getting those for Singapore. Also, all new Ferraris now come with a 3-year warranty, which is extendable, and a 7-year free maintenance program. So that just shows the confidence that Ferrari have now in the build quality of their new cars. Okay, it's starting to rain a little bit, so I'm going to put the roof up. It's so convenient that you're able to do this while moving. You don't need to stop. It was such a pain in the past when you had to stop to put the roof up. And we're good. So actually now when you're driving in the city, you can put the car back into comfort mode. It's smooth, comfortable, very, very easy to drive, very practical. And it just shows now that you don't need to drive a Ferrari fast to enjoy it. I mean, you know, we're sitting at the traffic lights, even when you're driving slowly around 50, 60 kilometers an hour, it's just a pure joy. You have this nice Ferrari logo in front of you, you have a lovely interior, you know, it feels expensive, it feels special. You know, you really feel the history of the brand, you feel the passion and the work that goes in from the mechanics and the engineers, the designers. It's just a very special place to be, and I would absolutely love to own a Ferrari in Singapore. Wow, what a great day. I absolutely love the car. Thank you so much to Ferrari Singapore for giving me the opportunity. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel and follow me on my social media to follow my racing journey in 2022. What's up guys, so today we've got one of my personal local favorites, Singapore Big Prawn Mee, and these prawns are absolutely massive. We had to take away today because of the rain, but I'm sure it tastes just as good. Let's try. I'm gonna try the soup. Wow, I'm making a mess.